Hi everyone, my name is Junon. I have a health science background and I'm the author of the book Truth and Empathy, How to Find Your Soulmate. And I'll put a link to the book below. This video is how to accurately type a person, in other words, how to determine their Myers-Briggs personality type. I hear a lot of people think that it's a very complicated process, but if we follow some basic principles, it's pretty easy to know who a person is. First of all, we have to keep in mind that there are four main groups, although there are 16 personality types. So the first groups are sensor judgers, the second sensor perceivers, the third intuitive thinkers, and the last one intuitive feelers. So we have to know the basic theme of their life. So sensor judgers are about tradition and duty. For the sensor perceivers, they are about movement and freedom. So in other words, they are opposites. So if, let's say, you look at someone who's very much a sensor perceiver, they will have characters that are like go against the grain of who a sensor judger would be, and they usually don't get along. There's quite a friction between these two groups. Then you have the intuitive thinkers, who are about power and knowledge. So these are people who focus on math and science, and they are about the abstraction of the concrete. So if someone, let's say like Einstein or even Newton, really fall into that group. And then you have the intuitive feelers, and the theme of their life is meaning and spirituality. So obviously you have people like Mother Teresa, Mahatma Gandhi, Jesus Christ, Buddha. So they fall into that group. If we look at the overall world, is that about 85% of people are sensors. So they are either sensor judgers or sensor perceivers. So that's why, let's say if you type a person, the first thing you need to keep in mind is most likely they fall into these two groups. So the intuitives are, in a sense, the exception to the rule. And I know people like to feel, special, but I mean, it's rare that you're going to come across intuitives. In the day-to-day life, you will see that most people either fall into the sensor judgers, so these are people who are reliable, reachable, traditional, and you have the sensor perceivers, who are the creatives. And if, let's say, you look at, let's say, celebrities in general, I mean, I would say that, conservatively, at least 95% of them are sensor perceivers. So they are either entertainers or entrepreneurs. So, and also sometimes they have a combination of both. So in other words, if you see someone who's an actor, who is a business owner, a singer, let's say even in terms of athletics as well, these are professions that are very much attractive to sensor, because these are people who are attracted to what is different. They are risk takers. These are people who are willing to put their livelihood at risk just to follow their passion. So they're not so much disciplined as much as these are people who are very much into finding something they like and just giving it all. And compared to the sensor judges, who like security, stability. So in other words, when you actually type a person, the first thing to think about is whether or not they are a sensor perceiver or a sensor judger. The other point also is that when you type a person, usually there's one character that stands out. Are they right brain dominant or left brain dominant? Like when they come across, do you feel that they're more like Oprah, who's very much a feeler, or Schwarzenegger, who's very much a thinker? So each time you select, let's say, or you identify a core character of the person, is that you can eliminate a number of other possibilities. For example, there are 16 personality types. 8 of them are thinkers and 8 of them are feelers. So if, let's say, you identify the person being more of a thinker, you know that you can eliminate automatically 8 possibilities. And if, let's say, you identify them as sensor perceivers, so you know that you can eliminate 12 other possible, because sense of perceive, there's only 4 types, either the masculine, feminine, and then introvert versus extrovert. So in other words, to type a person, it's better to look at what they are not than who they are. So each time you identify one letter or one characteristic, you can eliminate the rest. And really, when it comes to personality types, you only have to look at the first 2 functions, because the first 2 functions will tell you who the person is. There are no, like, for example, if you look at the ESTPs, the first function is extroverted sensing, and the second function is introverted thinking. These 2 functions, none of the other personality types has that in terms of not only that those 2, but in that order. So in other words, you don't need to know all the other functions, because there are 8 of them. You only need to identify the first 2. And interesting enough also is that if a person is a perceiver, they are automatically, in terms of the other function, either it is combined with a TI, so introverted thinking, or FI, introverted feeling. If a person is a judger, it's always combined with extroverted thinking or extroverted feeling. So in other words, each time you identify one, it automatically tells you what the rest is. So I say to people, it's not as difficult as people might think. For example, if you look at someone like Madonna, I've done, obviously, I've typed her. So she is a singer, entrepreneur. She's someone also who dabbled in acting. So this is typical of sensor perceiver. So knowing that Madonna is a sensor perceiver means I have 2 letters. I only have to identify the 2 other ones. So in other words, knowing that she is that type, I can eliminate the 12 other possibilities, because P, if I know she's a perceiver, it means that she cannot be a judger. She's a perceiver. Being a sensor means that she cannot be an intuitive. So in other words, the only 2 things I need to figure out is whether she is a feminine energy, or also if she is an introvert or extrovert. So in other words, you can quickly narrow down the possibilities when you're actually typing a person. And sensitive are usually quite easily to recognize, because these are the type of people who like to dress differently, so they tend to have tattoos, different hair colors, they like things that are different, they're the creative type. So you won't see, let's say, an intuitive thinker do that, or even an intuitive feeler. So in other words, I think that from all the personality types, sensor perceives usually stand out. Now, when it comes to sensor judgers, they come across as obviously more conservative. They're not as well known, because obviously they're not the type to be celebrities. So someone like Jordan Peterson or Candace Owen, they're more of a small group. Yes, they got to be well known, but it's not because they were involved in acting or singing or being a business owner. So they're not the type to be very much interested in risk taking and having to sort of explore their creativity. So again, the language they're going to use as well, you'll see that they want things that are secure, safe. They talk about tradition. So when you look at most people, if, let's say, you pay attention to only the way they dress and what they're attracted to, you can easily determine if they're sensor judgers or sensor perceivers. Also, when it comes to whether a person is an intuitive feeler or a thinker, is that, again, these 2 groups rarely are in the public eye. How can you determine if someone is an STP versus an intuitive thinker? The main difference has to do with attention span. Usually, when it comes to a person's intuitive thinker, they are the type of person who like to be, let's say, on their own. Even if officially they are extroverts, they spend a lot of time alone thinking, reflecting, and they're not attracted to the limelight. So you won't see someone like, let's say, Einstein or Newton wanting to be a celebrity. So they want to be known for mostly their mental capacities, and they won't be attracted to the creative field. So you won't see someone like Newton wanting to be an actor. It's not gonna happen. So even they also won't be attracted to athleticism. So they won't want to be, like, let's say, an Olympic athlete. This is not what intuitive thinkers are attracted to. Same thing when 2-2 feelers. You won't see 11-2 feelers becoming Olympic athletes or wanting to be entrepreneurs or singers or something. Although they have a sense of creativity, but it's not the way it works. And you'll see also is that the intuitive feelers tend to be more open-minded than censor judgers. So these are people who are very much non-traditional. So when I'm getting at is that when it comes to typing a person, it has to do with eliminating the possibilities. And each time you identify one characteristic, or let's say if they are right brain or left brain dominant, if they are the type to be organized, so that they are judger versus perceiver, you can automatically eliminate a number of possibilities because the MBTI personality types are very well structured. So I say to people, it's not that difficult, and if you actually understand the logic behind it, you can easily type a person, especially when it comes to people in the limelight, because when you look at their life, their actions will tell you who they are. Very few people can lie with their actions long term. So let me know if you agree or disagree with the content of this video by commenting below. If you enjoyed this video, if you learned something, please click on the like button. Also, remember to click on the notification bell to be notified when I make other videos. Subscribe to my channel, and we will talk soon.